We start episode 3 where we left off in the last one, which is excellent. If you leave an episode on a cliffhanger, you start the next episode where you left off because it gets you in the mood for things to come.
Someone got out of this cell.
We can't know that for certain.
You know, I think the script forgot they released all the episodes at the same time because they covered this in the previous episode. I can understand using this line as a recap if there was a week-long break between the episodes, but here it just looks like Lana forgot after 5 minutes. You counted the bodies! Like, why would a spaceship for a colonisation mission go with empty seats? They enter the elevator shaft, finding the alien has left a trail of slime. The trail leads them to the floor they woke up on, which brings us to a tense moment of a Yakuza hitman trained to kill with all sorts of guns versus a woman who isn't very good at a security job. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know Shun has the upper hand. Why do you keep making shit fucking decisions with these fucking characters? They can't do anything right and keep acting in a way that completely contradicts the things that we know about them. It keeps fucking happening! Though I think by far the worst decision wasn't made by these characters, but instead by YouTube hiring this writer. I don't want to be too mean, but this show just brings it out of me. Mika Watkins has worked on a few shows with some being quite reputable, while others...
Listen up, noobs. Today we fight. Not for XP, not for gold, but for honour.
But it seems like she's just a co-writer for all of them. I assume when it says created by and inspired by, they still help to write, but every show she's written for has been partway through the series, so characters are fully developed. I don't think I really need to explain why it's easier to just throw out ideas for a story that has a foundation, compared to creating a story from scratch that's actually good. I've tried writing my own scripts for stuff, and I suck at it. At the moment, I'm getting better at it. This show just seems to be all over the place, which would make sense if it was written by a shitload of people, but the first 3 episodes have been written by her. Then it goes even further off the rails, and I have a theory on what might have occurred. Mika had an idea for a new show set in space, and she was really passionate about it, which is why she set out to write it on her own. But then YouTube say, could you make it a few episodes longer to get a nice even number? As she gets through each episode, it starts getting clearer that it's harder than she thought making a show from the ground up. This is where the staff writers come in to give her a hand, take the stress off of her. But somewhere along the line she gives up because episode 9 out of 10 was written by just some guy. When I write something, I want to be a part of the whole thing because my work is my baby and I'll fight people to keep it pure. I wouldn't give it to just some guy, just like I wouldn't give a real baby to just some guy. When you hire a babysitter, you get someone you know who might have done babysitting before, not the guy with no history, because he might be an axe-wielding rapist. Why not hand a whole episode over to the one person that has had experience on working on quite a few shows, instead of someone who hasn't written anything for any other episode? Well, we'll get to that fucking dumpster fire eventually, but I think I've covered the writing enough so I should get back to the story. Have I started watching something in France? We were in space. Oh, of course, it's Ray's flashback. I can't wait to see what happens with her. I mean, this flashback started with some excitement. We have an old man who is dying, a sister who looks after him, and she's going to tell him about her mission to Thea.
L'entreprise pour laquelle je travaille, Sirène, ils m'ont demandé de faire partie de l'équipage sur leur prochain vaisseau. Laisse-moi gérer ça toute seule.
The dad's happy to see her go because it's what she's always dreamed of. And with that, let's get back to the main story. What the fuck? What did it do the noise it makes when we transition from flashback to present? Why is this show so inconsistent?
Good morning, crew. It's 8 a.m. and today's wake-up call is Beethoven's 7. Now get your asses out of bed.
This must be annoying for those who have to work at night, because surely there's a night shift on a spacecraft. It'd be quite scary to have nobody awake on the ship. You might think these messages are only played in certain rooms, which might be true, but then that also means it's someone's job on the ship to be a radio host. Can the crew not be trusted to get up on their own, that every morning they need to be woken up by this? Good morning, sleepyheads. Today we have a beautiful classic to wake you all. From Reggie Watts, this is Fuck Shit Stack.
Shit, motherfucker, ass tits, cunt, cock, motherfucker, shit, ass tits, motherfucker, shit, come on. Bickety fuck, bickety fuck, bickety fuck, bickety fuck, 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 fuck.
And you want to compare it to a marble? I said big ass marble. Say, big ass marble.
That describes literally every planet ever. They are always round because we classify a planet as being round. Every planet is rounder than the roundest marble. If we take Earth's highest point, which is Mount Everest at 8,850 metres above sea level, and the Earth's lowest point, which is the Mariana Trench at 10,990 metres below sea level, you get a total distance of 19,840 metres. The diameter of the Earth is 12,742 kilometres, which is 12,742,000 metres. So the highest point to the lowest point of Earth is 642 times smaller than the width of our planet. If we scale it down to the size of a marble, which is 13 millimeters, and Everest nearest to Mariana Trench-sized dip would be 0.02 millimeters. There is no way that anyone could make a marble that round, and here's an easy way to show it. Imagine this is the marble zoomed in. It looks very round, but as we zoom in further, you start to see it's not actually that smooth.
See? Big ass marble.
Once that masterful piece of dialogue ends, we get to see Ray at work. She's also in charge of all of our other characters while they sleep in their cryopods. Obviously not doing very well as Henry starts spazzing out. Well, whoop-de-doo, this episode is all about developing the character of a dying woman and a dead man.
There's too much oxygen in his bloodstream. It's called hyperoxia.
This is why you have people on the night shift, because people need to go to bed. What's worrying is that usually when Ray goes to sleep, they have nobody watching them. Could you imagine that's how all of our characters meet their demise? Too much oxygen while they sleep and spasm the lives out of themselves. I don't know what hyperoxia does. They get ready to go into light speed and we hear this line that definitely means everything is going to go to plan.
The human body is not designed to travel faster than light. The ship is.
What is this, Inception? It's a bunch of flashbacks in a flashback. What is going on? Did she not get hurt by that? She sounded like she was getting injured. Okay, let me get this right. During her flashback, light speed causes her to have more flashbacks and a premonition. I hate premonitions. All they do is vaguely see the future, but it removes tension and surprise. Remember the totems in Until Dawn? As they did the same thing where you see a glimpse of a character dying from a certain thing. So you're like, when I see this object, I know to stay away or I'll die. This works better in a game because your choices could avoid this happening, which most players want as it keeps their characters alive. Only psychos like me willingly go towards these things because it's funny. But premonitions are shit in a TV show, as I no longer care about either of these characters, as I know they're going to get fucked up, and I can't change the timeline to stop this happening. Even if they don't die from whatever injuries they get from this, I'm going to feel cheated, as losing an eye means nothing in film. Very rarely has there ever been a character with an eye patch that has been affected by this disability. In fact, the only one I can think of is in How I Met Your Mother.
Lily?
You've been sitting there?
Ray wakes up blindfolded because her eyes are damaged, but we the audience know she's fine as I've seen her in the present day. Am I blind? We don't understand light speed, blah blah blah. Shut the fuck up and stop crying. We know you're gonna be fine. Maybe you should train your premonition to find out when you can see again. Oh yeah, this is happening. Lana asks if they can keep Ray's existence a secret because she's the only one that will know the alien's identity. But we already know this since they've discussed it earlier. I understand that they're trying to keep Henry up to speed with things. However, for us, there's literally no point to this scene as we go straight back into the flashback. I reckon they couldn't figure out a smooth way to do the scene transition. Why is he even taking her out? Maybe if you had shown a bit of chemistry between them, it would make sense he wants to go for walks. I'd understand if she had a leg injury and then this would be therapy for her, but this is probably the worst thing to do. Very rarely are blind people encouraged to move around because if you're not good at being blind, it can end badly. When the Paralympics was on, my PE class had to play blind football, so you get a ball with a bell in it. I'm shit at football with sight, so I just sat down and tried to roll into the opposition. But there was this one kid who was good at football, so decided to cheat by looking out the bottom of his blindfold, meaning he could see the ball but not far in front of him. Obviously, this leads to a cracking sound as he sprints into a wall. From what I heard, it was amazing. But I was blind, so I didn't get to watch. Another downside to being blind. The two of them walk around the room with Ray guessing what all of her passengers did before their trip to space. Another scene with no purpose because they don't give me any information. The old film rule is show it, don't say it. And here, they say what they've already shown. Like Logan looking a bit like a drug dealer. They do show them joking around saying Logan could just be a confused gay priest. But again, what's the point of developing the character of a dead man? Why wouldn't you want to focus on the characters that so far I don't like as they've made awful decisions, and yet now I'm saying it's probably good they didn't do that since it might get more people killed and then I'll dislike them even more? Well, Ray's dad might be dead by now. Not that anyone would care as he got less screen time than Mike. I know nothing about their relationship except she was gone for ages, so it's clearly not the best. Christmas time rolls around and the romance is getting steamy. I wonder what she's going to get to kiss under the mistletoe. Taylor gives Ray a nice MP3 player because that's the standard gift for the blind. Probably a bit dangerous for a spaceship as it would be nice to have some of your main senses for danger. I had my headphones on one time and didn't hear a fire alarm. You see, very rarely are you able to smell or taste danger, and if you can feel danger, then it's probably too late. Oh, how touching. She's flashbacking again. Hang on a second. Who's selling MP3 players on this ship? Is that just another pointless job for this super important colonisation mission that probably costs millions, probably billions, and they are wasting space and labour on a shop? While we're on the topic of wasting things, the flashback wastes my time by revealing Ray can see. Who could have seen that one coming? Hey look, it's that shot from her premonition. She really can see into the future, even though her premonition of this was the exact same shot, but the other one with Logan and Lee was just like a lucid dream. They chat about the stars, which is the cliched romantic thing to do. But it's special here because she wouldn't have been able to see them without Taylor being there, as he saved her ability to see. How cute. Now for the most romantic thing since a face touching in Face Off. I get there's supposed to be romance here, but if someone tried kissing my eye, I'd step back like, what the fuck are you doing, you creep? Now they're in bed together? They move quicker than the skanks in Love Island.
There are these things called closed time-like curves. They're like vortices of space-time that appear at the edge of the FTL bubble. So in theory, you could relive moments from your past or your future.
I get the feeling that the science stuff about light travel creating premonitions is complete bullshit. I don't know why, but if you said going to the speed of light stops time, that sounds more believable than it creating dreams and shit. All science is theories though, as nothing can be proven, only disproved. There's some things that we accept as fact, like gravity, but you never know, someone may disprove it. They get ready to exit light speed, so Ray gets some more wacky visions of things. So it really is just going to and from light speed that causes these visions, not the thing breaking, exposing her to a bright light, which they kind of implied. She gets up and shit be going fucking mental. I wonder what could be happening. Asteroids. The asteroid hit the cell that Taylor is looking after, which is why he was down there when Lana and Shun showed up.
Those are my passengers, Captain.
Well, why would you need a gun? In case the asteroid fights back? Maybe it's to kill the passengers, as I'm always a bit cranky when I wake up. Why would they even need guns on the ship? I guess if they hired crew with similar histories as the passengers, they'd need them. Who knows what kind of cannibalistic serial killer paedophiles they might have hired. Back in the present, the alien is plotting to kill Ray, so sets off the fire alarm, because making people alert is the best way to do this. You know, it's plausible that all of the things happening in the present is just a long premonition. I can imagine the show writing itself into a dead end and revealing it was all a vision. Henry then leaves Abigail, who has no medical experience with Ray, while he runs somewhere to try and stop a possible fire. On board of that story, let's go back to the one that we already know the ending of. What are you pointing the gun at? Injured passengers? Well, Ray checks if her passengers are okay until she gets a distress call from Taylor. Sounds like his gun didn't protect him from the asteroid. She tries to get some help, but the captain gets everyone to evacuate. What a twist that I definitely didn't see coming, as they definitely didn't say this happened in the previous episodes. What's going to happen to Taylor? I hope he makes it out okay. Remember that standoff at the beginning? There were probably some people who thought maybe Lana is the alien. This just confirms she isn't, since we know the bad guy came from Taylor's bit. We knew it wasn't Shun as we saw him flying out of his tube, but Lana just shows up looking really dodgy because jump scares are usually a good sign of suspicious behaviour. So all the tension built up from not knowing who is bad is mostly gone. All they needed to do was remove that one shot of her and it'd be more acceptable since she is a prime suspect. Ray gets to the danger zone pointing a gun around the room, even though she has no idea what could be in there apart from 2 crew members and 10 passengers that is probably best not to shoot. This is like me running to the scene of a car crash with a knife in my hand, as these characters aren't even aware of aliens existing since the next episode they say this is first contact. Then the shot here implies that the alien is actually a creature that crawls around above the characters like every other alien ever, except it's nothing like that as it's powerless without a host. Where the hell did she get a gun from?
You're not leaving. You have to. That's an order, Ray.
Why did the captain give her a gun? She just told her to evacuate. Why would she need a gun to get to the escape pods? Does she need to shoot her way through all of the other crew? What I think would have been better is if she stole the gun from somewhere, as this shows she's willing to go against the captain. What they've done instead is make it seem like the captain is agreeing for Ray to go save him, because when you talk about going to save someone, being given a gun is probably the universal sign of go do it yourself, which Ray obviously understands. What is with these doors? It's like they have a slam setting. I'd be disappointed if nobody gets trapped in one of these, or lose a limb, as this would justify using all the jump scares. If there's a gun in Act 3, introduce it in Act 1. If there's a door that's strong enough to crush people in Act 3, introduce it in Act 1 by slamming it really hard. She continues into the room, finding a few dead people and this woman. I can't really tell if it's a woman since she looks a bit gross, but either way I'm covering their tits, because showing a nipple scars for life. I can't deal with all this horror. The jump scares are too terrifying. Thank God we found Taylor. He's been slimed. And we already done this scene. Walk into a dark room, guns drawn with slime and deadish bodies until we come across someone who is slightly alive and then attacks them. Now for this bit of drama that could go anywhere. Hang on, I thought he shot her. The show sort of implies he shot her because it's obvious they attacked each other, and he was sat down with a gun by his hand. I get you can see something sticking out of her wound, but I thought that was a bit of shrapnel or something. Why didn't he shoot her? Surely it's easier to find his gun, as it's not like he'd throw it across the room. I don't think he even struggled with the alien, as he didn't even shoot his gun. Now I think about it, I don't even know how the alien manages to get inside him in the first place. From what they show, it's some tentacle thing that crawls its way through your orifices. I wonder what the inspiration was for that. Meanwhile, in the actual story, Henry's running around and finds the fire alarm has been triggered. As we know, there's a bad guy on the loose, and poor Abigail is on her own, or so she thinks. What the hell was that noise? Did they bang their shin on the way past? Ray's oxygen levels are then conveniently low, but the only oxygen tanks are outside the room. Not sure why, as it's probably an important thing to have in a surgery room. It's not like they don't have anywhere to put it. She makes a run outside when suddenly the lights go out. Somehow. It's one of those horror things where the lights just happen to go out at the scariest moment for no reason. They never explain if it's the ship fucking up or the alien doing it purposely. If it is on purpose, what was the point if she makes it back in the room without any trouble? Are we meant to take this scene seriously? A door hitting someone in the face is classic slapstick comedy. It's always funny. Since Abigail is proper knocked out, she can't do anything to save Ray from some fat fingers. I don't know why they wouldn't just grab a scalpel to slice her open, since we know the aliens are able to shank people. It's at this point Ray wakes up so she can have a flashback. Oh my god, it was Eric the whole time. The flashback then immediately ends, and I bet she wishes she told someone Eric was a bad guy. I feel like that's the kind of thing you'd remember, and he is quite an easy guy to describe. She was conscious for a while, but at no point did she say, "That fat bearded guy was in this room I locked because of all that space shit. You should probably go decapitate him." Such a simple thing could have saved her life. Would have been a lot easier if he just killed her earlier, since she's the only one that knew he was an alien. I doubt a recently stabbed 120-pound woman would be able to put up much of a fight with this bear. How does anyone take this threat seriously? He couldn't kill an injured sleeping woman half his size. Also, why wouldn't he choke her by grabbing her neck? It's so much more effective, as you never see MMA fighters do chokes that way. Plus, it looks way better on camera. The others get into the room, but Eric manages to escape. Not sure why one of them didn't chase the bloodied, limping fat guy that happens to be the only source of conflict, then shoot him in the back like an American police officer. I guess it's so the show can end on a fucking cliffhanger.